So, in the first part of the lesson, we had seen how Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary had started the journey for the final call and the final attempt to reach the summit of Mount Everest. And we had also seen the way they both worked in a team and also how each of them was supporting each other. He also explained to us, he shared his experience that it was not about reaching first or reaching second, it was about reaching the top of the summit. So, now in this particular part, we shall be discussing the further. So, when we reached Kathmandu, we discovered that a controversy had arisen. We talked it over Hillary, Colonel Hunt and I. We agreed all the talk was childish. So controversy is a small kind of a big problem. Usually when people disagree with each other, it turns out to be a heated discussion. And the controversy was all related to who reached first on Mount Everest. So all three of them, that is Hillary, Colonel Hunt, who was the head of the expedition, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing himself, they came to a final decision that whatever people were talking were all childish, means they didn't have any proof. So we made a pact and each of us signed it in the office of Prime Minister of Nepal. Each one signed his own statement. I have a copy of Hillary's statement which I carry in my pocket. So a pact is a formal agreement between parties or individuals. So all three signed a pact in the office of the Prime Minister of Nepal. So let us discuss now. It reads Kathmandu, June 22, 1953. So we are talking about that copy which is made by Hillary and Tenzing has it. On May 29, Tenzing Sherpa and I left our high camp at Mount Everest for our attempt to the summit. So we are talking about Camp 9. They were in Camp 9 and they had left their attempt to climb the summit. As we climbed upwards to the south summit, first one and then other would take to turn at leading. So as we have earlier discussed that there is somebody who is leading and somebody who is seconding. So both of them had to change their places. Sometimes Tenzing would lead, sometimes Hillary would lead. In a similar manner, we crossed over the south summit and moved along the summit ridge. Ridge means a small narrow ending or piece of thing. Okay, we reached the summit almost together. We embraced each other, overjoyed at our success. Then I took photograph of Tenzing holding aloft the flags of Great Britain, Nepal, United Nations and India. So this is what he signed. EP Hillary, Edmund Hillary had signed this particular pact, that this was his statement given in the office of the Prime Minister of Nepal, that the last time when we reached there together, I had seen Tenzing holding all the flags, the Great Britain flag, Nepal flag, United Nations and India's flag in his hand, and I took the photograph. This is another paper like in English signed by me. Thus we will not take part in any controversy, as the statement says, Hillary and I embraced when we reached the top. We did as well as the bulky equipment would let us. I remember saying him, we have done it, we couldn't hear, we had our oxygen mask on. So this is what they wanted to tell us. So both of them have signed a particular paper in English. Thus, we will not take part in any controversy, as the statement says, Hillary and I embraced when we reached the top. So this was what both of them confirmed, and both of them said that we are not part of any controversy. We don't know what happened, why people are talking this, but this is what happened. We reached together, we embraced, we hugged each other, we were having hands in each other's hands, and we both stood together on the top. We only knew that we only could hear was that we have done it, as we were wearing heavy gear and we had oxygen mask on our faces. So my first thought on reaching the top was a sense of gratitude to God, that after having failed 6 times, he had blessed me with the fulfillment of this desire I had held so long. So the first thought that came to his mind while reaching the top was that after failing for 6 times, he did not give up. So he was thankful to God for blessing him for fulfilling his desire of reaching the top. I had placed on the summit the offerings to God that I carried with me. This is an accord with my religion. Accord means an agreement with his religion. Both my wife and I are Buddhist. I could not kneel because of my clothes and equipment, but I offered a silent prayer in my heart. So when Tenzing reached to the top, the first thing came to his mind was offering a prayer. But according to the Buddhist religion, you have to kneel down and offer a prayer. But because he was wearing heavy clothes and heavy equipment on him, he could not do so. So he just stood and offered a silent prayer in his mind or in his heart. The offerings were biscuit, candy, and a little blue pencil. So these offerings are quite, what you say, different or quite unobvious for anybody. But the offerings were biscuits, some candy, and a little blue pencil. My youngest daughter Nima had given me the pencil before I left home. She asked me to put it on the top of the mountain as her offering. So according to the Sherpas or the culture of the mountaineers, whatever they had, they could offer to the mountain, offer to the god after reaching that particular place. So his younger daughter had given him the pencil, the blue pencil, which while leaving the home, and she asked him that whenever you will reach to the top of the mountain, please offer it. So what was offered was a very ordinary blue pencil, not even long one, but it was one of her prized possessions. Prized possession means something which she had close to her heart or something she used to carry with her. It was not long one, it was just a small ordinary pencil. As I put it down, I pointed it out to Hilary. He gave me a big smile, showing that he understood. So while he was doing that, he looked at Hilary, and Hilary gave a big smile to him that he understood what he was doing. It was from his younger daughter. All those things that he was carrying from his family were the offerings to the mountain, not to the mountain, but to for the gratitude of God. Then I got out the flags which I had on piece of string for about 4 feet long. I fastened one end to my ice axe, and Hilary took pictures as I held it up. So his ice axe, that particular axe which is used by mountaineers while climbing, so he had tied those 4 flags on it on a particular string which was approximately 4 feet long. As I had to bring my ice axe down with me, I buried one end of the string in the ice on the top and the other in the snow on the slope down below. When we left, they were lying flat against the summit. So this particular what is the incident took place where he had to tie his all the 4 flags, the flag of Britain, the flag of United Nations, flag of Nepal, and finally the flag of India were all on the summit now. I was very thirsty. I took out the water tumbler for a drink, but found the water in the metal container had frozen, so I couldn't quench my thirst. I ate some biscuits and offered some to Hilary. So he was thirsty after climbing the entire mountain, after reaching the summit, after climbing 29,000 feet approximately. He was very thirsty, so he pulled out his water tumbler, but unfortunately the water was frozen, so he could not quench means satisfy his thirst. He could not satisfy his thirst, so he only ate some biscuit and gave some to Hilary. I was wearing a red scarf which my great friend Lambert, leader of the 1952 Swiss expedition, had given me last year. It was just a year ago on May 28th, when we were standing on 28,215 feet, that he gave me the scarf. So not only Hilary, so many other people also took Tenzing with him for mountaineering. So last year, a person named Lambert, he was the leader of the 1952 Swiss expedition. He gave him that particular red scarf when they were close to the summit at 28,215 feet, and I wore it all the way up to the mountain from Darjeeling. As I stood at the top, I remembered him and felt that he was with me. I felt absolutely fit at the summit. My mind was absolutely clear. I didn't feel tired. I felt exhilarated. It was a very clear sensation. So when a person is happy, when a person is close to achieve his goal, he feels happy. He was not tired. He had nothing, no other thoughts in his mind, no second thoughts in mind. He had only one thought in his mind, that he was going to complete his expedition. The 7th time was the final time, and he was going to hit the summit. He was going to reach the summit. Accelerated means he was very happy. Below, all the hills and mountains looked like gods and goddesses to me. The plains below looked like so many broken pieces of map. 2 or 3 people could stand there on the roof of the world. If you cut ice 20 or 30 feet below the top, there was enough flat square for 2 people to sleep. you would pitch one tent there. The summit is flat on one side and steep on the other. So he's explaining now the size of the summit, or how the summit looks. He says 2 or 3 people could stand on the summit. It is that small. 20 or 30 feet below the top, there was enough flat square for 2 people to sleep. Means if you look at the summit carefully, 2 or 3 people can stand on it, and little below, 30 feet below the top, there was a flat space where 2 people could easily sleep. You could even pinch a tent out there. The summit is flat on one side and steep on the other. There is snow on the northern side, rocks on the south and east, and snowy rock to the west. We stayed on the top a little more than 15 minutes. We were lucky that there was no gale. Gale means strong wind. He was lucky that there was no strong wind which could push them out of the summit or imbalance them. So they were happy they could stand there for 15 minutes, or it would have swept us off. My next thought was how to get down safely. Now the one thing that they did was very what do you say, after so many attempts, in the seventh attempt they hit the summit, they were able to climb the summit. But now the next thing was how to get down safely without being hurt. On the descent from the summit, descent means while walking down, ascent and descent. Ascent means to go up, descent means to come down. While coming down, I was walking behind Hillary. I was following him and holding the rope tightly, and my determination was to make sure he descended safely. So now Hillary was walking, what to say, front. He was leading and he was seconding. Hillary was right in front of him, and he held the rope very tightly. As we know that initially we had discussed in part 1 that if you are climbing the mountain, you had to leave the rope loose, but if you're walking down, you have to hold the rope taut or very tight. And his determinations was that to make him his journey safe, his returning journey should be safe. I must say that the climb down was more difficult and dangerous than the climb up. If you slipped down, you would go into Kashang Glacier and there would be no trace left of you. So if anybody would fall from that cliff, he would directly fall into the Kashang Glacier and he would die. Means nobody would be able to even recover your body from there. It was so dangerous. So more caution needed. Now of course it took less time climbing down, but you needed more seer, that is caution. When I reached Camp 9, my first thought was, thank God we have been spared an accident, and if up to now there have been no accidents, I hope there will be none in future. So after reaching down, after he came down, he felt that yes, this was very easy, it was great. He came down and there were no thoughts in his mind that he was thanking God. He was grateful to God for reaching him down safely. And he said that if there was no accident, that means in future also there will be no accident. I had always prayed to God and he had saved me. So he was praying to God too for his safe journey. At Camp 9, Hillary and I were in no mood for any talking. We just attended to our own things. We stayed there about half an hour. We boiled some snow to make some lemon water and drank it. So if you are mountaineering, if you are a trekker, and if you go at places, you know the importance of lemon water. Lemon water was just to regenerate the entire body, to give them freshness. When they moved back to Camp 9, they sat there doing their own things. They did not speak with each other. For half hour they were sitting there. They drank some lemon water, and then when we left, we took only our sleeping bags and left everything else behind in the tent. From Camp 9 to Camp 8, where we spent the night, was an easier job. Just above Camp 8, where the others could see us, I raised my arm with my thumbs up. So this thumbs up means that we have done it. So there was no, they wouldn't be able to shout that entire thing, because in the snowy regions, especially on the mountains, if anybody could shout, it would create an avalanche, or what is you can say a rock fall, or the entire ice could come down. So he just raised his hand to Camp 8, saying that his thumbs up and saying that we have done it. CWF Noyes at WG Law saw us and their faces flushed with joy. In this way, I was able to tell them our success. As we got nearer to Camp 8, Lowe came to meet us and came up about 300 feet with tea and coffee. So now they are moving downwards. So these camps are actually those small tents which mountaineers make while they are climbing the mountains upwards. So Camp 9 was at a more height than Camp 8. So now they were descending towards Camp 8, meeting their other friends such as Noes and Lo, and they were coming down. And when they came down, Lo came to meet us, and about 300 feet with tea and coffee. This was what he was thirsty. He didn't get the chance to drink water, but Lo had brought him some tea and coffee. After 50 feet down, we met Noise, who brought us more tea. This tea smelled kerosene. Now, somebody had brought him tea, but unfortunately, the tea smelled kerosene. Apparently, it had been made in a hurry, and somehow some kerosene got into the welcome cup. He's saying that somebody at what do you say 28,000 feet, somebody who's above so much, and it is not possible for asking something else. But whatever he brought was out of his what do you say out of his excitement, and he had brought tea for him. Maybe it had some smell of kerosene. While making it in a hurry, maybe some kerosene what was poured in the welcome cup. But I thought, since the gentleman had taken so much trouble to bring it, I was going to enjoy it, whatever the smell. So this means that he was just happy that he had brought him something in what do you say we can say in excitement, in his happiness. He just wanted to cheers it up, and he wanted to just give them some coffee. So he had to drink it because he was in much more merrier place, because he had achieved his goal of reaching the summit in the eighth time. So he didn't just care about anything, and he drank that tea no matter what the smell. Tenzing Norway from archives of TOI, that is Times of India. So in the next part we shall be discussing the brainstorming, first the textual and next then the grammatical question and answers.